Okay, now the next step for us is kind of a big one. What we're going to do is we're going to convert this image to a color image. All right, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to add a new layer on top of this image. And layers are a very important concept to understand in Photoshop. Okay, so let's open the layers palette. If it's not already showing, if it's collapsed like this, you can just double click it and that should open it up for you. If it doesn't do it the first time, double click it again. Okay, you got to click kind of quick. Now what we want to do is we want to add a new layer on top of this one, and on that layer we're going to begin to paint the image. Okay, so all we need to do is simply go down here to the bottom of the layers palette and we click on this icon to make a new layer. All right, and it's great to get into the habit of naming your layers. So what we're going to do next is we're going to paint the skin. So we're going to double click on the name here and type in skin. And now we're going to begin clicking on the image and kind of painting some skin in here. Now what we need to do first is grab a paintbrush. So we click on this tool and that gives us a brush tool. And we need to choose the color that we want to work with. So this is the foreground color, is the color on top. So we're going to click on there and we're going to choose kind of a skin color. Now this is always a little hard to do, and you know, just try and get as close as you can. Okay, and that kind of looks skin like to me. So you can choose these colors if you want, but just sort of eyeball it, and it doesn't really matter too much if you're exactly on it or not. We're going to click OK. And now what we're going to do is we're going to begin to paint on this image, and you're going to be blown away because when we start painting, it's magically going to look just like the color is popping into this image. Uh-oh, what happened, right? We're not really getting a color. Look at our color option down here. We don't have any colors to choose from. We pick colors from this menu, but they show up as gray. Well, why does that happen? It's happening because this is a grayscale image. Okay? We are working in what's called grayscale. What we need to do is we need to change this to a color image. And we do that by going to Image, Mode, and choose RGB. We always want to work in RGB when we're working in Photoshop. Occasionally you might want to work in CMYK, but with RGB you have the most ability to use the most amount of tools in Photoshop. So here it's asking if we want to flatten this image, and we're going to tell it no, don't flatten. And now look at this. Now we've got colors here. Okay? So on this layer here, we already started painting, but that's okay. We're going to just paint right over it. We're going to choose some skin colors, what seems to be a skin color anyway, and we're going to just start painting. Look at this. It's uncanny how realistic it looks. It's almost weird that it looks just like a color photo all of a sudden. Okay, I'm being a little bit facetious. Okay, it doesn't really look quite like a color photo yet. As a matter of fact, it looks just like somebody splotched all over our image here. Okay, and I'm going to just kind of drag up in there and get all of the areas that need this skin color. Okay, now you're thinking to yourself, this looks hideous. I could have done this in Microsoft Paint. Well, you're right, because what we've done is we've painted this color in, but we've left it just in like a regular mode. And what we need to do now is change the blending mode of the layer to another type. And we do that by over here in the layers palette, we click right here where it says normal. We're going to click, and for this particular task, the two that tend to work best are overlay. Well, it looks okay, kind of a little greenish, but okay. So overlay mode or color mode. Okay, now it's really up to you which one you use, and depending on what you're doing and what colors and what the original image looked like, you might want to use color, you might want to use overlay. They kind of change a little bit. So you just have to experiment. I'm going to leave mine on color, but feel free to experiment with either one. Now the colors are way off here, right? Let's take a look at how we can change the colors of this image to get it a lot more natural looking.